This is Nightline, and I'm Sabrina Zainal. The top stories. October summit to be ASEAN's largest and most momentous gathering. AG's Chambers orders Zara Khairina's body to be exhumed. And JDT claim their 10th Sultan Ahmad Shah Cup. Good morning. We begin with this story. Four prominent world leaders, U.S. President Donald Trump, Chinese President Xi Jinping, Brazilian President Lula da Silva, and South African President Cyril Ramaphosa are expected to attend the 47th ASEAN Summit scheduled for this October. As ASEAN Chair, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the summit is expected to be the bloc's largest and most momentous gathering yet, uniting global powers and Southeast Asian leaders on one platform.
Anwar emphasized that the time has come for ASEAN to take on a more proactive role, ensuring that all regional heads of government, together with dialogue partners, engage in constructive, results-driven discussions.
But securing their presence is only the first step. The greater test is to ensure that they leave Malaysia and ASEAN feeling their time was well spent. We must ensure that their visit yields results of lasting value.
He said this during his speech at the launch of the 58th ASEAN Day celebration in Cyberjaya on Friday, held under the theme Towards an Inclusive and Sustainable ASEAN Future. One of the key issues to be deliberated in October will be intra-ASEAN trade, cross-border investments, energy and connectivity. With global attention centered on Kuala Lumpur, Anwar urged all parties involved to deliver their best efforts at the forthcoming summit.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister highlighted the swift and effective ceasefire agreement between Thailand and Cambodia as an extraordinary achievement, demonstrating the strength, commitment and determination of their leaders.
Anwar said the outcome was made possible through collaboration at multiple levels, involving the prime ministers and foreign ministers of both countries, their military forces, and the full support as well as solidarity of all ASEAN leaders. He added that the ceasefire talks also underscored ASEAN's crucial role in maintaining regional security with backing from both the US and China.
And it is because of that level of trust and confidence we're able to continue not only to secure an understanding, and I was told that in the history of ceasefires in the world, in the past many decades, if not centuries, this was probably the first ceasefire that worked fast and effectively due to the support of everyone.
On July 28th, a special meeting brokered by Anwar in his capacity as ASEAN Chair was held at the Sri Pradana complex in Putrajaya, attended by Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet and Thailand's Acting Prime Minister Phumtham Wechayachai. The meeting resulted in an immediate and unconditional ceasefire, bringing an end to 5 days of intense border clashes between the forces of both countries.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have now...
Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan will lead a delegation of ASEAN counterparts from Thailand, the Philippines and Indonesia to Myanmar on September 19th. The visit aims to gain a better understanding of the country's current situation ahead of its upcoming general election.
Alhamdulillah, saya minta supaya kita dapat juga melihat bagaimana pentadbiran baru kerana pentadbiran junta telah pun dibubarkan, state of emergency telah pun dibubarkan.
He said the visit will also demonstrate ASEAN unity, especially since the Philippines will be chairing the bloc in 2026. Myanmar's junta ended the state of emergency on July 31st and handed over power to a people-led interim government. The move paves the way for the national polls scheduled for December. Analysts, however, predict that the election will likely maintain the military's hold on power. Now, for more insights on the upcoming ASEAN summit, we are joined by geostrategist Azmi Hassan. Now, could you explain the significance of the presence of global leaders such as President Trump and Xi Jinping at the summit?
Well, to say the least, is a mouth-watering event with world leaders such as President Trump and President Xi Jinping in the same hall in Kuala Lumpur. I think it spells a little bit more about what is ASEAN is all about. ASEAN is not about Southeast Asia, but ASEAN can attract world leaders. When they meet, they can resolve whatever problem that they are facing right now. So we, President of Brazil, Lula, and also Ramaphosa, President of South Africa, together, it will be very interesting if indeed President Putin did want to attend this October meeting. It should be a good meeting where ASEAN can demonstrate that ASEAN is not about Southeast Asia only, but maybe it can extend to an Indo-Pacific and also as a global organization in this particular case. So it creates very well, it jives very well with ASEAN centrality, with the current chairman of ASEAN is fighting for to portray ASEAN what it's all about.
Right. Now, Azmi, looking ahead, how might the meeting shape Malaysia's and the region's economic cooperation amid intensifying U.S.-China competition?
By inviting world leaders such as President Trump and also President Xi Jinping, but also other, I would say, notable world leaders, it shows that ASEAN under Malaysia chairmanship is opening up their window economically, not only geopolitically, but more importantly, economically to other region, the rest of the region, to the American Latin region, to the African region, and also to the European region in this case, because of the, I would say, the Trump tariff war that restricted the American market. So I think economically, tied together with geopolitical strategies in this particular case, it demonstrates that ASEAN want to do trade with all the nations. There's no preferences, but we want to do a fair trade. So when the Americans put out tariff as their tool to restrict trade, ASEAN is willing to find new market in this particular case. So ASEAN Summit has been used as a stepping stone to open up ASEAN, and so that ASEAN can reach other markets that are currently not reachable by ASEAN members.
Right, thank you so much for those insights and for joining us this morning, Azmi Hassan, geostrategist. Now, moving on, at a separate event, Anwar stressed that Malaysia will withhold support for any negotiations on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict until there is an immediate end to the occupation, violence and genocide in Gaza.
Our position is very clear. We are against colonization. We are against oppression and atrocity, and now genocide. And whether it's by any country, and worse now, by Israel, continuing, when people see daily people being killed, children mutilated, women, housing, property, everything.
Anwar, who was met at Nasrul Quran complex in Putrajaya, also questioned the logic of negotiating with the party responsible for the ongoing atrocities against the Palestinians. Reaffirming Malaysia's long-standing stance on the conflict, the Prime Minister called on the global community, including world leaders, to act swiftly to end the bloodshed and restore basic human values in Gaza. In a statement on Thursday, Wisma Putra said Malaysia strongly condemns the Zionist regime's latest decision to launch a full military takeover of the Gaza Strip. The Foreign Ministry also urged all nations to reject Israel's apartheid policies without exception.
Now, at the same time, Israel's Security Cabinet's approval of a plan to seize control of Gaza City has sparked growing international condemnation, with world leaders warning of severe humanitarian consequences.
Turkey's foreign minister said the decision to take control of Gaza City is aimed at forcibly displacing Palestinians and called for international leaders to prevent the plan from being carried out. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer called Israel's decision to escalate military operations in Gaza wrong and urged restraint. He called on Israel to reconsider the plan immediately, stating that such action would not end the conflict, but would only lead to more bloodshed. Meanwhile, UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk called for an immediate halt to Israel's plan, saying it defies the International Court of Justice ruling, undermines the two-state solution, and violates Palestinians' right to self-determination.
The young Dipertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim arrived in Kazan, the capital of the Republic of Tatarstan, on Friday for the second part of his state visit to Russia. The special aircraft carrying the king landed at Kazan International Airport at 10:15 a.m. local time. Upon arrival, Sultan Ibrahim was received by President of Tatarstan, Rustam Minikhanov, also present to welcome His Majesty at the airport were Tatarstan's Deputy Prime Minister and Industry and Trade Minister Ovi Korobchenko and Russian Ambassador to Malaysia Nail M. Latipov. Tatarstan is an autonomous republic within Russia, with the majority of its population being Muslim. The visit marks a historic milestone as Sultan Ibrahim is the first Malaysian head of state to undertake a state visit to Russia since diplomatic relations were established in 1967. The Attorney General's Chambers has ordered the exhumation of Zara Khairina Mahathir's grave and for a post-mortem examination to be conducted on the Form 1 student's remains. The move is aimed at helping the police obtain additional information and evidence required to complete the investigation into her death.
In a statement, the AG's chambers said it had reviewed the initial investigation report submitted by the police and found that a further probe was necessary to ensure all aspects of the case were thoroughly covered. As such, the full preliminary investigation report was then returned to the police, along with several instructions. This included an exhumation of Zara's body for a post-mortem to obtain further medical and forensic evidence relevant to the case. Previously, Zara's mother, Noraida Lamat, claimed that no post-mortem examination had been carried out on her daughter's remains, as no one had advised her to request for one. Zara, who was found unconscious after allegedly falling from her school dormitory building at SMKA Tundatu Mustafa Limawan in Papar, Sabah, was confirmed dead at the Queen Elizabeth I Hospital on July 17th. The incident came under the spotlight after allegations of bullying surfaced.
Meanwhile, Zara's family welcomed the statement issued by the AG's chambers. The family's lawyer, Hamid Ismail, when contacted, said they also hoped that an inquest would be conducted to determine whether there were any criminal elements involved in her death.
Saya mengucapkan jutaan terima kasih kepada Jabatan Peguam Negara kerana bersetuju untuk menggali semula kubur arwah Zara bagi tujuan melakukan bedah siasat. Saya berharap tindakan ini akan memberi maklumat baharu kepada pihak polis dalam menyiasat kes kematian arwah Zara.
The government has invited the public to submit their suggestions for the 2026 budget, which is scheduled to be presented on October 10th. In line with this, the Finance Ministry, or MOF, has launched the 2026 budget proposal portal, which will remain open for submissions until October 3rd. In its pre-budget statement, the MOF said the initiative is aimed at encouraging public discourse and enhancing transparency in the preparation of the annual budget. Additionally, various ministries will also hold engagement sessions with relevant stakeholders. On Thursday, the MOF held the 2026 budget engagement session, which brought together nearly 300 participants from government agencies, the private and industrial sectors, academia, as well as non-governmental organizations. Now, World food commodity prices rose in July to their highest in more than 2 years, driven by rising international prices for meat and vegetable oils. According to United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, the Food Price Index, which serves as a global benchmark for food commodity prices, averaged 130.1 points in July 2025, marking a 1.6% increase from June. That was the highest reading since February 2023, though the index was 18.8% below its peak of March 2022, which followed Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. In July, gains for meat and vegetable oil prices outweighed declines observed in cereal, dairy, and sugar.
Cities that inspire, connect and sustain. Putrajaya is more than a skyline. Discover how the city stays green, connected and investor-friendly as we explore Malaysia's blueprint for urban excellence. Muhammad Ahmad Hamdan speaks with CEO of Putrajaya Holdings, Sindiran Berhad, Dato Engineer Technologist Izwan Hasli Muhammad Ibrahim, only on Money Matters this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3 and stream on Tonton.
4 men linked to cop's death remanded. This and more after this breather.
Selama ni pun dalam rumah apa semua saya yang urus. Bila saya jadi macam ni, semua harap suami yang buat. Suami sanggup berhenti kerja sebab jaga saya.
Dia selalu mengadu kat saya, kata dia sakit payudara sebelah kiri. Satu hari tu saya bawa dia pergi hospital. Lepas habaq kanser tahap 4.
Tanyalah Ustaz minggu ini. Isnin, murtad tanpa sedar. Selasa, solat dan waktunya. Rabu, ibadur rahman, dambaan syurga. Khamis, kaya yang sebenar. Jumaat, faraid atau hibah. Sabtu, golongan celaka dalam Al-Quran. Ahad, taqwa dan damai hati. Tanyalah Ustaz biar tahu jangan keliru di TV3 dan TV9. Stream juga melalui Tonton.
Unlocking the future of business.
From industry evolutions to policy changes, we go beyond the headline.
Deep insights, sharp analysis.
Understanding the forces driving tomorrow's economy.
Key financial insights that drive decisions.
This is Money Matters, every Saturday, 5 p.m.
Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
Cat Fashion Week. Miau menyala, gaya membara. Temui 8 finalis Cat Fashion Week. Eksklusif di Nona setiap Ahad 2 petang.
Bersiaran di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
In Kedah, police obtained a 7-day remand order against 4 men linked to a burglary that led to the death of a police corporal in Alor Star on Thursday. The remand order until August 14th was issued by Magistrate Siti Nur Hasliza Mat Ali to assist police investigations into the case.
All 4 suspects, aged 24 to 26, were brought to the Alor Star Magistrates Court on Friday for remand applications. One suspect had 77 prior offences for house break-ins and vehicle theft. while the others had between 2 and 30. In the 3:30 p.m. incident, the victim, 35-year-old Corporal Muhammad Hafizul Isham Mazlan, and 4 other policemen were responding to a tip-off about a suspected break-in at Taman Golf. Upon arrival, the officers encountered the suspects attempting to steal a safe from a house. The suspects attempted to flee in a sports utility vehicle and rammed into Muhammad Hafizul as he exited his vehicle, killing him on the spot. One of them was then arrested at the scene, while the remaining 3 were detained in Kepala Batas Jitra less than an hour later. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for murder and housebreaking. Over in Terengganu, Muhammad Hafizul's remains were laid to rest at the Putra Jaya Islamic Cemetery in Setiu at 10:30 a.m. His remains were first brought to the Putra Jaya Mosque for the funeral prayer. The burial was conducted with full police honours, with Terengganu Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Khairi Khairuddin presenting the Sang Saka Biru police flag to Muhammad Hafizul's father. The late officer leaves behind his wife, 36-year-old Nur Azhanis Muhammad Yusuf, and 3 sons, aged 4, 9 and 11. Meanwhile, Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail in a statement gave an assurance that the welfare of Muhammad Hafizul's family will be taken care of. He added that all matters, including the payment of gratuity, ex gratia, pension benefits and contributions to the officer's next of kin, will be expedited. Saifuddin expressed his condolences and described the loss as a great blow to the police force and the nation.
Police have arrested 71 individuals, including 8 foreigners, in a nationwide crackdown on bank account mules. The 3-day operation from July 29th to the 31st, and led by Bukit Aman's Commercial Crime Investigation Department, saw 59 raids carried out across the country.
The raids were conducted in Negeri Sembilan, Pulau Pinang, Sabah, Perak, Pahang, Selangor and Sarawak. The operation was carried out in collaboration with Bank Negara Malaysia to track locations where cash was withdrawn using ATM cards belonging to money mule accounts.
Daripada 71 orang ini, setakat ini 16 orang telah pun dituduh di mahkamah, iaitu di atas kesalahan akta kesalahan kecil 1955 6 orang dan Seksyen 424A Kanun Kesiksaan 10 orang. Manakala 55 lagi telah pun dibebaskan untuk siasatan lebih lanjut, bukan bebas macam tu saja.
Police also seized 925 ATM cards, 392,266 ringgit in cash, 100 mobile phones, 32 SIM cards, 55 documents, 10 files, 2 checkbooks, 1 check receipt valued at 90,961 ringgit and 24 sen, and 5 cars. A total of 42 investigation papers have been opened for fraud, dishonest concealment or removal of property, conducting illegal money lending activities, and activities linked to mule bank accounts.
Bangkok braces for downpour. The details when Nightline returns.
Anugerah Melodi Terhangat 2025 adalah Daya Prisha.
Standing ovation untuk yang paling terhangat.
Thank you kepada semua tim TV3 dan Melodi. Thank you so much. Alhamdulillah.
Dan tahniah kepada semua pemenang Anugerah Melodi Terhangat 2025.
Kehangatan itu satu benda saja, iaitu yang ini.
Membuktikan mereka sehebat prestasi.
Tapi seriously, she's an exceptional lady, a superwoman and iron lady, dan saya bangga hanya boleh sempentas dengan beliau.
Sehangat sensasi bakat sendiri.
25 tahun kemudian baru saya dapat anugerah. Terima kasih kepada semua yang menyokong selama ini.
Stream semula kehangatannya melalui tonton sekarang. Anugerah Melodi Terhangat. Hangat bukan biasa-biasa.
Engkau esok kau filekan bercerai dengan wasit. Kenapa you nak anak kan?
Ya, I nak anak. Tapi anak dengan you.
I tak boleh pregnant. I tak nak mengandung. Tolonglah Nisa. Kita sama-sama carikan isteri untuk berwasit. Habis tu Kak Ita ni apa? Melawan. Nisa lah orang yang paling tepat. Habis tu, sekarang ni Nisa pula yang nak kena jimangsa.
Kau nak madu dengan Nisa? Itu yang kau nak?
Apasal? Tak boleh? Salah? Haram ke?
Aku masih sayangkan kau, faham tak?
Nisa buat semua ni demi Kak Ita, tahu tak?
Siapa pandai-pandai kahwinkan anak aku?
Dalam setiap pertandingan, kan ada yang menang, ada yang kalah.
Tak nak. Tak kira. Kita kena menang. Kita dah buat semua benda, dah prepare untuk menang. Tak boleh kalah-kalah. Ingat aku jealous. Kau jangan main gila dengan Zarita Malik.
We're back with the foreign front. Singapore is facing a notable surge in chikungunya cases, with 17 reported by early August 2025, more than double the previous year's count. The surge began in May and accelerated through July, mainly due to travelers returning from outbreak areas such as China and Indian Ocean islands. Although local transmission is still limited, the presence of Aedes mosquitoes continues to pose a risk. Chikungunya, a virus spread by mosquito bites, causes fever, rash and severe joint pain, and though rarely fatal, it can lead to lasting discomfort. The Communicable Diseases Agency said it would consider more public health measures if new data indicates a higher public health risk to Singapore. Thailand's weather agency has issued a storm warning for 36 provinces on Friday, including Bangkok, which could see heavy rain over 60% of the capital. Residents are urged to stay alert as a low-pressure system over northern Laos and Vietnam, combined with the southwest monsoon, is expected to trigger widespread thunderstorms. Now, Bangkok and the east face the highest risk, with storms likely in 60% of the area, including Chonburi, Rayong and Thrat. Thunderstorms are also forecast in 40% of the north, south and central plains, while 30% of the northeast could be affected. Coastal areas in the south could be hit by storms, along with waves of up to 2 meters in the Andaman Sea and Gulf of Thailand. Now, authorities strongly recommend avoiding sailing in any regions where thunderstorms are actively occurring. In other news, record rainfall hit parts of southern Japan on Friday as authorities urged residents to evacuate and warned of possible landslides. Kirishima City in Kagoshima saw record rain of 500 millimeters in the 24 hours through 5 a.m. local time, twice the average rainfall for the entire month of August. The Japan Meteorological Agency reported unprecedented heavy rains in the region, but downgraded its highest alert as the rain eased. Over 122,000 residents in Kirishima were urged to evacuate, while warnings were lifted in neighboring Miyazaki. Domestic flights to Kagoshima Airport were also cancelled. The deluge follows a period of punishing heat in many parts of Japan, with a national record temperature of 41.8 degrees Celsius set this week. On to sports now. Football. Johor Darul Takzim JDT made history once again, clinching their 8th consecutive Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah Cup with a dominant 3-0 victory over Selangor FC on Friday night. Now, the Super League curtain raiser at Sultan Ibrahim Stadium saw fireworks from the start, with Jairo da Silva opening the scoring just 1 minute in. Eddie Israfilov doubled the lead in the 64th minute, rising between two defenders to nod home Arif Aiman Muhammad Hanafi's corner. The crowd of over 30,000 erupted again in the 72nd as Arif Aiman capped his night with a goal of his own. The score remained 3-0 till the final whistle, sealing JDT's 10th Charity Cup title and another glittering chapter in their domestic dominance. Still on football, a big signing for Manchester United. The club have agreed a £73.7 million deal with RB Leipzig for Benjamin Sesko, who is set to sign a 5-year contract worth over £8 million per year.
The transfer includes an initial £66.4 million fee, with another £7.3 million in performance-based add-ons. As part of the deal, United will also play a friendly against Leipzig. Sesko is expected to undergo his medical at Carrington on Friday and be unveiled on Saturday, either before kickoff or at halftime of United's friendly against Fiorentina. Sesko scored 21 goals for Leipzig last season and has 39 in 87 appearances since joining from RB Salzburg.
And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at the risky but vital aid drops, a final lifeline for Palestinians caught under ongoing Israeli atrocities. With that, I'm Sabrina Zainal. Thank you for watching and stay safe.